How wonderful to see you all here in person after so many cancellations and so much online work. Remember all those endless Teams meetings back to back every day? And here we are alive. And so kia ora koutou. Just to say that word kia ora, there's a woman working in the post office in the 1980s. She was nearly fired for answering the telecom, the international transfers by saying kia ora. It was illegal. It's such a wonderful word, ora, alive, well-being. And whakaora is about working on the whole, is about working on the aliveness. And that's really what whakaora is. We're a new social enterprise, and we've been around for about a year and a half. It's evolved out of the living building space and out of the 300 or 400 people who have taken the regenerative practitioner training with Regenesis in the States and other programs that are going off globally. We are a small group of people, and we're going to work in that space between the land, the communities, the institutions, the businesses. We're going to join the dots and shine a light on what's really going on. And what a fantastic story that Fletcher Building has just shared with us about the work that they're doing and endorsing and basically showing that we actually all want to go in the same direction. We are going to do our work via eventing, like today, and we've had some online offerings, some case studies and some developmental sessions we'll be carrying on. This is a minimum of a 3-year journey. We would like to transform the design and construction sector, that's just about everybody in New Zealand, has some impact or is impacted by that, into a force for good, a force that drives the well-being and the aliveness of our ecology, papatūnuku, of our communities, our businesses, our institutions. And that's a big ask. But the only way we can do that is by stirring the pot, disrupting, getting all of you in the room with us today so that we can all start heading in the same direction. The basic way that we work is changing our consciousness. We spend a lot of time working on automatic, getting up, there's standards, there's structures to society, and it's about thinking, are they really serving us? Is that the best that we can be? And starting to bring that consciousness into our everyday thoughts, our everyday words, our everyday actions. And we're not going to give you new tools to play with, and we're not going to instruct you, but we are going to ask you really good questions, really great questions, and we're going to encourage you to come up with your best answers to that. And hopefully by doing that, as communities, in groups together, that actually you'll start to find alignment through your values and through what you really care about, what you have faith in, what you have hope for. And we will initiate and leverage and activate change in our industry and the multiplier effect. So we need to challenge ourselves. We need to think differently. And we spend an awful lot of money. Our industry is 40% of the economy of New Zealand. That's a massive amount. It employs tens and tens of thousands of people. And imagine that if every time we were working on a hospital project, that actually the surrounding awas and whenua and the communities were healthier as a result of that. That actually the development of the hospital undermined its very need and its existence to treat acute medical conditions. It works on transport and brings health into the system, into the local community. Imagine that when we build housing for our children, that instead of putting a car park in the middle of the apartment buildings, we actually put a farm there where they learn to grow their food and they connect to things growing and to the cycles of the planet, and that they start to take care. Imagine that when we build our infrastructure, not only do we use some very, very low carbon concrete and our best smarts at avoiding building it where we need to, but in fact, we start to look to ecology and to nature to provide some of that infrastructure for us. Imagine that you don't have to pipe your sewage 8 kilometres across the city to semi-treat it before we discharge it into one of the most beautiful harbours that we have in Auckland, Tamaki. So some new thinking, some new challenging. But one of my jobs today also is to say huge thank yous. This is often there's a joke with these things that the showcase, the people at the showcase make up a huge proportion of the audience. And of course they do. And in this instance, that was a very firm invitation to join the journey and to be part of us, not just to turn up and run a stand outside, but actually come into the room, mix up on the tables and join in the conversation, because it will take everybody. And although I was just going to say, some of the tables do have, so we have a Becker table, we have a Jacobs table, we have a Ekipanuku table. That's all right for the first hour or so, but then split it up, mix it up, go and meet new people, go and have conversations, challenge yourselves, okay? So don't just sit in the same seat all day long. So first of all, I'm going to thank you all for turning up. We have around 230 registrations. COVID and a few things have taken a few hits. We also have 300 students online upstairs and about another 30 people online watching the COVID evacuees, refugees. And at some point, some of those students are going to come down at lunchtime and join the showcase and join us for lunch. But it is wonderful to see you here. I'd like to thank Thirth and our Totara Foundation sponsor, Bernice. I had a conversation with her about 2 years ago. She's like, yeah, you're all right, Jerome, we'll support you. We believe in you. And the seeds of this event are actually 5 years old, but we started it just under a year and a half ago. And isn't it amazing? We thought something, and here you all are in the room, in the conversation. I'd also like to, our Nukurangi sponsor, Amanda Yates. Where are you, Amanda? Please stand up for a moment. Is she in the room? Hello. Amanda's here. She runs a lab in the School of Architecture, the Order Urban Wellbeing Lab, and she's been here right from the beginning of the journey as well. We schemed and planned this together as a industry, research, university collaboration, co-creation. And our COFI, APL Windows, Equus Roofing, the heating company, thank you all for your huge commitment, and we're going to take you on the ride, and we hope you enjoy it. And I'd also give a special mention to OmniGraphics, Jeanette Partington standing up at the back, for doing all the amazing table prints, the walls, and the rest. And I would also like to give an honourable mention to Natural Habitats. Thank you for these. These walls were grown especially for today. They've been in the greenhouse for months, people going in and watering them and trimming them and tidying them up every day, and here they are alive with us. And also I'd like to acknowledge the Puriris, the Puriri Nuis and the Puriris. This is groups of people, groups of 6. There's Becca, there's RDT Pacific, there's Mercy Hospital, Bofamiscal. Kangaroo took 2 Puriris, thank you, and the Parnell Business Association and Jasmax, of course, so fantastic. And then also Plytech Abodo and Nixons, who have put on some of the breaks and the food and the drinks. And I would say they're here. They're all really valuable products. They are all, a lot of them are made and manufactured in New Zealand, and they all provide that essential level of high performance, low carbon, healthiness. And so please do go and talk to them and spend some time and see who they are and join them during the breaks. And then I have to thank, well, I tell you what, this is probably the most overcooked event we've ever put on. Because we've been planning it for a year and a half. There's so much energy and effort gone into this. But I'd especially like to thank Tatiana. Where's Tatiana? At the back, running everything. Awesome. Our event manager and administrator. And Akasa Daka, who is our co-curator, standing over there. Just amazing work and commitment. And we have the Whakaora business team. Rachel, our MC for the day, thank you. And Miranda Brown, who kindly shared the artwork. So kapai and heartfelt thanks for all of you. Now, nearly there, last little bit. Why are we here today? Well, you might have noticed that we've been talking about climate change for 40, 30 years, and we've got really serious about it. You know, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of conferences, and there's been some, even some zero carbon acts passed in New Zealand. And we're starting to plan what we're going to do, and there's a lot of accounting and auditing of carbon and things like that. But in actual fact, what's really happening is carbon is still increasing. It is still going up, and it's going up rapidly, and nothing's really changing. And so something's wrong with the way that we're thinking. Something's wrong with the way that we're approaching these challenges and these problems. So we need some new thinking. We're not sure exactly what that is, but part of that is in the room today, in the way that we reflect and work. But we have more efficient cars, and what do we get? We get giant utes driving around the city and many, many more cars. We have, we're building more houses in the city, and we're literally covering the land in tarmac and tiles. We're going to run into climate change and flood problems. We're decimating the city's trees for development, just as we need to be growing them to sequester carbon and to cool the city down and to keep us calm. The biomass in our harbours has shrunk beyond less than 90% of what it was 100 years ago. And colonisation of both indigenous people and nature has taken away our agency and our culture of how we need to live in our places, of how we need to connect to our places, and that knowledge and that experience of how do you sustain yourselves for hundreds and hundreds of years is absolutely critical to us being here in 300, 500, 1,000 years. And that's why Whakaora exists, to bring all this wisdom together. And I will just quote Dame Whina Cooper: "The seed I would like to plant in your heart today is a vision of Aotearoa, where all people can live in harmony and share the wisdom from each culture." And I'm just going to take you back for a moment. So Tamaki Makaurau, 3 harbours, 1 million years of volcanoes. It's one of the most abundant places on the planet. 1,000 years ago, we had tens and tens of thousands of birds. We had forest everywhere. The harbours were full of kai moana. The volcanic soils, incredibly fertile. And so, of course, Tamaki Makaurau, the place desired by many, came in here. Everybody wanted to live here, and it's still a fertile and viable and beautiful place. But our development and the way that we created the city and the way that we live in the city, our lifestyles, has degraded that. We've heard about all the rubber tyres that are being captured and burnt. But while those tyres are on the cars, the rubber particles that wear off every day, tens and tens of tons, flow straight down the drains into the harbour. We go out and fish, but there's hardly any fish left. So what was abundant, what was the most desired place, that's its potential. So as businesses, as organisations, as developers, as citizens, as community, we should be putting the well-being and the health and the aura front of mind when we're making decisions about how we're going to plan infrastructure, plan housing, run our businesses, live our lives. That's our opportunity. So we need a new paradigm, regenerating life. And I have one more wee quote for you, which has disappeared, of course. I have some page numbers here. Yeah. So never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, because indeed it is the only thing that ever has. And that's Margaret Mead, an American. So today we have some amazing speakers. Mr. Johnny Freeland, we have Bill Reed, we have Amanda Yates, we have some wonderful quick-fire case studies, and we have some chance for you to reflect on, and we have Amanda Yates as well with the Moriora compositions. And we also have built in some time for you to reflect and to be more conscious of what you're thinking about and how you're reacting to these ideas and these thoughts. So without further ado, that's me. I'm getting off the stage. Thank you. Kia ora, welcome, and we'll get the day running. Cool.